Yeah, this
thing
thing makes me nervous. I don't get scared by this light, this one. I get scared by that one.
Yeah.
So what did you? It was like the last hour was.
What?
Was
about how you were wrong?
Well, yeah, I know. No. Even the women thing, more than the abortion. Like the abortion was like steady.
Yeah.
That last one,
we talked about
morphed.
That for a while.
That's what I'm saying. Like it morphed. It turned into different things.
It was
and
cool.
People texting and saying, "Oh, great discussion," and
I just wanted to say thank you for making me sound much nicer than I really am to you guys.
Oh wow, much nicer.
Yeah, the real reason I'm nervous is because of that one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir.
Well, so can you guys play it out? How is it that it really happened? Brian!
Right. Get to work. You're on the radio. Do something.
Wow.
I always forget we're on this thing. So, yeah, it's overtime.
Yes, it is. Overtime. We're watching. We want to engage with you. What did y'all think about the show? Brian, what stuck with you the most?
I'm getting my camera and my thing to work here. What stuck with me the most today was honestly that discussion about your ethnicity. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I know why did you feel weird about it?
Well, it was personal.
Yeah.
And I felt, even toward the end, since we're going to be transparent and it's still Brian and Jannelle, I felt a little defensive because it was like, wait, hold up, I get to define who I am.
Why don't you explain again for our overtime friends?
Yeah, so toward the end, we were talking about the different ways, or the things that my husband, who's black, has seen.
Specifically African American.
Specifically, right? Because now I got it. Has seen men and women interact as he's grew up in a black church, etc. I did not grow up around a lot of African Americans. I grew up in Rhode Island. My neighborhood was like all Hispanic, and then I went to an all-white church. So it was a new thing for me. So the things he saw, the stories he heard from his grandfather, things they went through in this country. You know, I got here in 81. My parents have no idea. You know, and the racial dynamics in DR are just different. So when I made that distinction, Bruce, he's called before. He's from Cleveland. I'm so glad he called. He loves the show. And just asked, why did I say my husband's black? I'm not black. I'm Hispanic.
And by the way, Andre thought that part of the show stuck out to him the most as well.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and so what happened in your soul when you heard him question why you... Like, he's essentially saying, why would you not identify yourself with me? He's black. He's like, why would you say you're not black? Look at you. You are. Because look at you.
Part of it hurt because I'm like, wow, that's all I do here is talk about how I'm black and how
what do you mean?
I'm saying I do that a lot. I bring it up a lot. I'm black and I identify with the African Americans and my sons are black. And when we talk about issues, I own the issues in the African American community because my kids are black. My husband, I'm all in it. So it made me feel like I'm trying to disown or act like I'm not. And I'm thinking, wait, I talk about it all the time. But I can understand how if somebody just tuned in, it does sound like that. Like, wait, hold up, you are black. Yeah, so I get it in terms of the importance of saying, yes, I'm black. But I think it's a little bit of what we talked about yesterday, how black and African American are used interchangeably.
Right.
So that's all I meant was like, I'm not black in terms of African American. Yeah.
Is it hard for you in Northeast Ohio, do you think, to figure out your identity? Knowing that if someone walked up to you, they'd have no clue that you're Latino.
It's not hard, but it is
What is it?
It does make me nostalgic of the East Coast because in the East Coast, people would know, like, oh no, she's Hispanic. Because there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us.
Just by looking at it?
I don't know what it is, but they're used to, there's not just African Americans and black. So I wouldn't get that in when I was growing up as much as I get it here. Where people just assume, oh, she's black. Or even what would happen in my college where I would say, no, I'm Hispanic. And some people would tell me, oh, whatever, you're black because I look like them. Yes, I'm black. But it made me kind of like defend myself and say, wait, hold up. I'm also Hispanic. Because it's very much a part of who I am. So it is kind of like you feel dismissed when it's like, wait, your skin is black, so you're black. Like, yeah, but acknowledge the other part. Right. I'm from a whole other country. We speak a whole other language. It's like me saying, I can't even put side by side a Dominican and a black Brazilian. They speak Portuguese, their food is different, their experience is different. Just because we have the same race, you got to acknowledge everything else. There's culture, nationality, language.
Yeah. And that's what Stephanie said. She said you're both Hispanic and black.
Yeah.
Hey, Stephanie.
Yeah, hi, Stephanie.
Hey. And yeah, that's just it. I wonder if it's the word also, though.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because sometimes when you separate yourself, you've said, I'm not black, I'm this, or I'm black, but I'm Hispanic.
Right.
As opposed to, I'm yes and.
Yes.
You're both. But, you know, that Brazilian example, I think, a lot of people would go, excuse me, what? Like, there are those of us who, like, generally spend much of our time in white culture in the Midwest, that you kind of forget that there's black Brazilians.
There's a whole lot of black Brazilians.
And I'm not saying I forgot that. I'm just saying,
yeah.
You go, okay, so black would be African American, and then you have your Latinos, all in Mexico and South.
Yeah.
When there's even racial issue and tension in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
In Mexico.
Oh my goodness, yes.
In Brazil.
Yes. Oh my gosh, there's like a whole lot of black people in Haiti, and they're right next to the Dominican Republic, and it's like you can't be more different. They speak French, their culture, their struggles, they colonized DR. So you can't just say, oh, no, wait, hold up, that's just black people. No, there's culture. You have to. And history and all that. Hi, Sarah. Sarah says, my son is both black and Puerto Rican, and he's very proud of being both. I taught him to be proud of who he is and never let that stop him from accomplishing anything in life. He embraces the culture, the language, and his children are even more black, Puerto Rican, white, Eskimo. I love it, and they are beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Adrian. She says, I just tune in, so I'm not sure of the issue, but you are a beautiful woman of color, regardless of your background.
Aww.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. Quantaya, hi. And Stephanie, hello. Yes, both black and Hispanic. Stephanie loves the announcement, the podcast announcement.
Good.
Yeah.
Doesn't the logo look cool?
And
it does look cool.
That was a question that I have is, how are you teaching your kids to embrace both? Like cultural things that are Dominican and enjoying those things.
My husband leads the way with that because he loves my culture. He's always like, I try to cook things he ate growing up. He's like, man, I miss it when you used to cook Dominican food. Cook Dominican food. When we went to the country, my kids fell in love with the music. I try to play it in the house, and we'll watch shows that I watched growing up. And so they love to tell their friends, I'm actually both. Like, even though they don't even have to, it's not even an issue. Right. They'll say, I'm actually part Hispanic. My mom's from Dominican Republic. And I love that because it's good news. It's like, yeah, I'm black, but I'm also, and so they love that. They want to do their gap year there and spend a year in Dominican Republic.
Ooh, nice.
Did you see what Andre said? Andre said, and hey man, I'm glad you pointed this out. He said, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York City with Haitian parents, and my experience was that people who were black and had a claim to other identities tended to downplay their black side. So I understand it resonated with what Bruce was saying. Jannelle, I understand where you're coming from, but I think your wording could be better because being black is usually frowned upon.
It's true.
In many countries, including the ones you mentioned.
Dominican Republic is one, big time, yeah.
And I felt that's kind of what Bruce was saying, was like, well, wait, you don't want to be black? And that's not what you're saying.
Oh, no.
Obviously, that's not what you're saying.
Right. You know what it is?
But you get to claim something else, and like Bruce doesn't.
Right. And it's true. Dominican Republic, if you look at the history, there's a lot of racism there. Dark color, the darker your color, it's like really bad. It's really bad. So I get that. But even though I've said many times I'm black in the show, depending on the topics, remember when you've said, we got to make sure we call Len because you're not, we'll use it interchangeably, you're not black or you're not African American. I can't speak up for some of the issues because it wouldn't be genuine. I didn't grow up
Because it's not part of your story.
It's not part of my story.
Your dad didn't live the oppression of pre and post civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Where your father-in-law, Pastor Neville's, did.
Right. So I get it. I could have just worded it differently, and it's just, we were going fast. But I've said many times on the show, oh yeah, I'm black, or I'm black Latina, or whatever. At that moment, I wanted to make a distinction of Len is black, and I just said I'm not. And I just meant to say I'm not African American. He's African American and has a different culture than I do, so he sees things differently.
So then, as you go in and out of culture, because you can, essentially, whether you're in Dominican Republic or here, is there something unique about the African American experience compared to the Afro-Dominican experience?
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so how is it different being an African American with slavery and civil rights as a descent versus an Afro-Dominican with that background? How's that different?
Even in the way we engage with the majority culture here, there's more baggage with African Americans.
Okay.
Because of stories you hear from parents and grandparents and all of that. There's culture. I'm just saying the culture is different, with the food and, for example, nationality. I had a friend that recently told me, like, wow, you can tell, where you come from. I do. I have nationality, which is Dominican Republic. Although it's still the same because, well, no, hold up. I came in just a different boat. I still have African descent. I don't know what tribe or country I came from Africa, but there's a lot of pride with, I'm Dominican, or, oh, you're Puerto Rican. So there's like a different play there with the nationalities that I've seen. For example, if I was in a party and somebody said, oh yeah, that's the Dominican girl, I would be like, yeah, that's right, I'm Dominican. Where I have friends that get offended if somebody points out, oh, that's the black girl. Do you see what I'm saying? There's like more of a, for us, that's not a thing. Call me Dominican. Like, yeah, I'm a Dominican girl.
Wasn't there oppression of Afro-Dominicans in history?
Oh, yes, there was. And there was slavery in Dominican Republic. There wasn't.
And yet there's still something unique about the African-American experience, you're saying, versus the oppression Afro-Dominicans may have experienced, and how it's grown out in culture.
It's just different, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I hate saying better or worse, but it sounds to me like you're saying the oppression and struggle was way worse for African Americans than Afro-Dominicans?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's different. It's different.
Okay.
So we don't have history here, so we don't have even the more recent civil rights movement, the Board of Education segregation thing that was going on here. We didn't experience that. It didn't play out like that in Dominican Republic. It played out differently. While in the United States, it was the civil rights movement and the segregation. The Dominican Republic, Trujillo was a dictator for more than 30 years, and it was just a different thing going on in Dominican Republic.
So when you're disassociating yourself from African American, it sounds like it's out of respect.
Right. I'm valuing. No, that's a different.
Yeah, your struggle is unique, and I don't want to claim it because it's not fair for me to claim it because I didn't experience it.
Right. My struggle, even in this country, is more as an immigrant, as especially it's recent immigrant issues. It's about, I'm in a restaurant speaking Spanish, especially when I'm with all of my family. That's what stands out more, because I got the color, and then it's like, oh, they immigrated to this country.
Wow, so you're dealing with
and not that
increasing
it's worse,
racial tension.
It's different.
And increasing xenophobia, fear of foreigners and such.
Right, and I'm not saying one is worse. I'm just saying it's just a different experience.
Yeah.
Hi, Beverly. Hi, Misty.
Hi.
Thank you. Pia said her husband, Andre, thinks he's the only Haitian in Cleveland. How long have I been? Yeah.
I love it when wives and husbands talk.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool.
Are there a lot of Haitians in Cleveland? I guess I don't know.
I haven't met any.
I guess there's a lot. We know Andre's not the only one.
Yeah, I know the West Side has a lot. More diversity in that sense. And Missy says, hello, it's all my favorite morning people. I love when people embrace their heritage and we can all share our differences and similarities. Andre, hi Andre. She says he lived in Kent for a few years. So Andre is Haitian. For a few years for college, and then stayed in the area a while longer, total of 8 years. But I just moved last August to Michigan. But I can't stop listening. He's in Michigan. Oh, man, that's cool.
Aren't you going to stand up for this?
Hey!
Thank you.
From Michigan. So make sure to stay tuned for the podcast.
The rest of you have no excuse.
No excuse. That is cool. Yeah, so that's weird. And I know, like, I don't know everything. I'm just speaking from my own experience. For other Hispanics, they will have a different perspective, so.
Yeah, and I think of how interesting it is for my own experience. Like, as a part of majority white culture, Scandinavian, I've never had to think about that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, my kids probably think about their diversity because I was born in Ohio and my wife was born in Indiana.
Oh,
so
wow.
You know,
ooh, who's your state?
There.
But I mean, have you ever had to think critically about your ethnicity and like how to define yourself? And
No,
I've never had to
don't
even think about it.
I am who I am.
For me, it's a little bit different because I'm first generation. Like, well, my dad's like, so my grandparents were immigrants from Germany, and they came through Ellis Island and they got a visa. The only way to come was by getting married. Otherwise, there was no way they could even come. So it's, well, my dad's first generation, but it's so close that it's kind of strange because they're very much proud of being German. So it's, I feel a cultural tug sometimes because of that.
And see, and I can connect to that because like every Christmas we're Scandinavian and we embrace our Scandinavian culture by making lefse and some other things like that. Yeah. But I feel like the pride is different.
It is.
It's like a, yay, we are this. And for you, Jannelle, it's more like, yay, we've been through this. Isn't it?
Right.
Like the unity comes more out of struggle than out of some sort of monocultural experience in the past involving choice and immigration.
Right.
Yours is so complicated because it was choice immigration
for
part of your story. And another part of your story, it was forced, it was slavery.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it was worse in the Caribbean, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't like in anything in life when we compare struggles. So it's not like,
you can't.
Yeah, struggle is struggle. It's just validating your journey's different than mine. You know, so even though, like, even in college, when I was like, oh yeah, like, I'm black and I wanted, like, my friends were black and we were hanging, it was always important to respect and say, yeah, your culture's different, because I wanted to learn about the African American culture that I had no idea about. Right. I didn't grow up listening to, like we said, Bill Cosby. I didn't watch Bill Cosby at all. My parents were so busy trying to make sure I didn't let go of my culture, you know, that I was like, I would go to school and look completely uncool. Like, I didn't know what was going on.
Because, I mean, you spoke exclusively Spanish at home.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us speak, thank goodness, speak English at home, because they said you speak it at school, learn it at school, you speak Spanish here. So it was that's something my African-American husband can't relate to. Right. You know, being stuck between two cultures. And I love that he validates that. Like, he loves my culture and understands it's different, and I want to learn from your culture too.
Because he cherishes you.
He does. Yeah. See, Brian?
And Jennifer just brought that up. Jennifer said, following your convo this morning about the man cherishing and the woman letting him lead, my favorite explanation of the man being the head is always, the man may be the head, but the woman is the neck, and the woman can turn the head whatever way she wants.
Yeah. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah.
Well, if you wonder what happens when the show is over, this is pretty much it.
This is it. And there's always more to say. And we know you have something to say, and you got friends you can share this with. Share your comments on Facebook. We keep reading them, and other people read them and get encouraged. And stay tuned for the podcast and have an awesome weekend, because Brian and Jannelle mornings will be back on Monday.